Wednesday. Show 100.
Booyah!
We made it there.
We have done it. We have done it. Hold on. We did it.
Look, originally we wanted to have something really big planned, but the news of the week didn't let us. I sent links out to different individuals that have been part of the show from when we started. I mean, the only one that answered right now is Ovi. He's right on here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No, thank you. You know, we started this 2020, right? January was it 2020 or 2021?
Was it during COVID?
It was, dude. It was when Biden got elected, so it had to be 2020.
Yeah. I mean,
November 2020, we started January 2021.
It was shortly after J6, so I don't remember if it was a week or two after.
You mean when Trump headed the told all the people to storm the Capitol?
No. He didn't do that. Sorry.
Yeah, he wasn't there. Yeah.
He didn't do that. No, he wasn't there. He didn't rush the building.
No, you're right.
He didn't rush the building.
I mean, you see him rush out of the stage when he got shot.
He was done talking, went to the thing, told everybody be peaceful. Then a crowd got fired on and pissed off the crowd, and sure, they rushed the building. Then they got escorted in, and they got their hands held through turnstiles and got a tour guide inside the place. That's an insurrection, Yeah, that's how you take over places.
Yeah.
Getting your hand held.
I mean, there's so much we could talk about on that day, man, but...
Yeah, we've been there, spoken about it. I mean, what else can really
I call it white privilege because if it was a different nationality, that would have been massacre. I'm sorry.
You call it white privilege?
Yeah. You seen anybody else there?
Bueno, then, I mean, whose fault is that if the other nationalities didn't go?
We know what's going to happen.
That's not a privilege thing.
Well, look, you know what? It's funny you said that, and I'm gonna check out what happened during the World Cup in Miami.
Yeah, that was a different nationality.
Or the Copa America.
La Copa America.
Yeah, between Colombia and Argentina, right?
Yeah,
they trashed the stadium
because they
were fighting in the not after I'm talking on the field, and there was a brawl in the stands, and then they carried out more outside the stadium. That is crazy. I mean, I'm serious. They didn't get tired, even with all that running. They didn't get tired.
No, I don't get it. Again, going back to what Ovi was saying, he feels a different nationality. That's why J6 was white privileged.
Mm-hmm. If it ain't soccer, to hell with it.
I see. So if it ain't soccer, it's privilege. Got it.
There you go. Listen, I want to say congratulations to you both, man, because the way you took this show compared to when you first started to now, you improved so much. The flow, everything, the conversation. Yeah, I don't sound like robots anymore. Have you ever go back to your very first episode and be like, dude, do I sound that way? Do I still sound like that? I mean, you guys come out here with confidence. Y'all know what y'all talking about. No matter what topics come out of y'all mouths, I mean, sober or not sober, sober. I mean, Frank did wonders with me on my other previous podcast, but on the other hand, congratulations, 100 episodes. That is a milestone, man. Good job, and I hope you guys continue because the variety of topics that you guys come up with and discuss. I mean, some might pertain to me, some don't. I mean, yes and no, but it's still entertaining. But it's still it's driven for knowledge. And congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Those words are taken very well, very pleasant. When you really look at it, we wouldn't be in this It wasn't really for you,
Oh,
because you pretty much gave us the platform in a sense where we're able to start, right? Because
well, let's put it this way. When we started our podcast, the HHW show, I was in the studio, and granted that you and Hector, by the way, from the Hard Hitting Wrestling show, y'all were used to call in, and that's how we used to do our business. And we had enough lines. The studio had everything. But when COVID hit, I researched, and the first thing that popped up was StreamYard. And I'm like, well, yo, I need to check this out. And then I went ahead and bought it, shared my wealth to everybody else that in Clovercrest Media, and everything was trial by error. I mean, I was spending money and not even knowing this stuff was gonna work, right? And then I remember Frank telling me, you know what, I'm interested in doing this. And I got a friend named Carlos. We've been talking, wanting to start our own show and stuff like that. I said, dude, go for it. What's the name of it? And the idea, correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, is like we always did the takeaway. And I don't know who started the Speaking It Real. I don't know. It was originally from you, right, Frank?
yeah,
Right.
it was.
I don't know if it was the tease that you were saying, like, because you said so much in our show, but that was the idea, was Speaking It Real. And I'm like, well, if you're going to do a show, you need an introduction. And I'm glad and I'm thankful that you played that introduction. It just like that. Okay. It was a snap. Usually when I do intro, it lasts me maybe 2-3 weeks to get it done. Yours, one day. But I wanted to do it so fast, and that's why the ending I didn't like, because if I'd have took my time, I probably got you better graphics for your logo. So I'm sorry, but I'm glad you upgraded though. I mean, you guys handled your business, but it was so awesome because it's a night show, right? I mean, it's night, but I wanted to be like a Jay Leno type deal, you know what I mean? So. But you guys doing good for yourselves, man. I'm happy for you both.
I mean, again, I will tell you that majority of the stuff that we have, okay, as far as our intros, came from you, because the other intro we have, you know, the one that we've been using the past couple of weeks, you made that one. I just modified it a little bit, like just with the sound, and I've, you know, done different things to it, where I know this Cuban guy, you know, and I had him Cuban style of it, and this guy did it all.
Oh,
yes.
Right, I still love that. I love it.
So let me ask you guys a question. Now that you're 100 episode, and usually when you celebrate a milestone, what is the best thing about being a podcaster now, Frank?
Dude, you get your word out there. You know, it's a platform where you speak, and you know, at least for us, you know, for me, it's you speak your mind out there. People hear what you have to say, and some people will agree, some people will not agree. You know, but that's just the nature of life and how it is. But you could always agree to disagree, and you know what? You don't have to sit there and fight each other all the time. You know, we have our boy Guido here. You know,
Guido.
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's up?
This is gonna get spicy.
Oh yeah.
Why is it gonna get spicy?
Because you're on, man. Listen, we're celebrating our 100th episode. You haven't been around much to see all of our episodes or whatnot or the other, but you've been part of the journey. So you know what? I sent you out that link.
Congrats on 100. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
awesome.
100.
And what a week to have this 100 hit. Again, we weren't going to do this till next week. And I know I told Frank at the end of the last episode, try to get Ovi, try to get Joe, try to get everybody, try to find Rob so we can talk about J6. Just bring it. Since that's where it all started. And I guess the week took a bit of a turn on us, and Frank's like, yo, we got to talk. Let's do this. I'm like, all right, I guess we can't wait.
Yeah, it really was. It was just one of those where everything just happened so fast, and you're like, man, what the hell are we gonna do now? It's
Yeah.
Well,
one
it
of those-
was so fast. It was so fast, like the Secret Serviceman went in and took Donald Trump out of the stage and get him on inside the vehicle and leave. Right? Damn, man, it makes me not want to be a president.
No, nah, man. Not in this
What was it?
environment.
Do your move, Frank. Do your move. That's gonna be a new dance. You're gonna see that new meme. Let's do the Trump.
Let's do Trump.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that Trump and I have in common now.
What's that?
What's this?
Carlos is gonna remember this because I've known Carlos for years.
Mhm.
Have you not noticed that Trump has a patch on his right ear, Carlos? Remember the patch
Yeah.
on my ear? You see, that's because I had surgery as a kid, so I was wearing a patch for a long time around my ear.
Yeah, that's
No wonder
right.
you're deaf. Oh, yeah.
What? So that's where we're at.
See, I told you. You said what?
Frank has that poof button. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Frank
he
makes
learned that
squares
from me.
disappear.
I taught Frank well.
He's a dictator.
Hey, listen, it's very simple. All right. I just forget it. We no longer need Carlos, so continue going.
Hey, no way.
Yeah, he's okay.
Unbelievable.
So check this out. I mean, I know there's a lot, but we found out something new, Carlos.
What happened?
Before the show started, and we were like, well, this guy Trump announced the vice presidency of what's his name, JD Vance. So JD Vance is a former Marine,
Right.
and also I think he's in office, right? He's a senator from Ohio.
He's in Ohio,
right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. And we came across his wife.
Oh
my
yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Wife
I am
is
voting for him.
Indian, right?
Yeah, his
You
wife's
said
Indian.
that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And man, I mean, there's a lot of the Time magazine made a great article. It's like a little love story of how they first met and stuff like that, and good vibes to get more women voters to vote, and that's pretty much what it is. Because, like you say, he always needs a strong woman by his side, and to let him know if he's doing right or wrong and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, man, no wonder Trump picked him. But a lot of people thought that Rubio, Marco Rubio, right? He's a senator there in Florida, right?
Yep.
Right.
But the thing is, the Constitution does not allow two people
From the same
the
state.
same state.
Right.
If not, Rubio would have been the top candidate for the vice presidency. Do you guys agree that he should be the top presidency?
No.
Vance or Rubio?
Oh, Guido. That's just say your name, right, Guido?
Yeah, that's his code name.
So you say disagree. Why you disagree?
Hold up, Ovi.
Go ahead.
Guido, hold on one second. I just want to make sure I understood the question. Are you asking about Vance or are you asking about Rubio?
No, Rubio. Like,
oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, Guido.
If he was in a different state,
would he be the choice?
Saying, would that be a good choice?
Okay.
No.
All right, Guido, go ahead.
I don't think so, because he needs to shore up those Rust Belt states, and so that's Pennsylvania, Ohio. So JD Vance for Trump is a good choice for him. He used to be a critic of Trump. Then he changed, and like everybody else, sees an opportunity, and he's making the best of it. There's a lot of stuff that is swirling around as far as like his voting record, things that he has said as far as like about certain topics about abortion and stuff like that. But he's a very devout Christian person, so that's not it's not an anomaly, right? It's pretty in line with what he believes in. So I think based on strategy alone, I think it's a good pick for Trump, honestly. I don't see Rubio shoring up any votes because the Cuban vote is already in like 100% on Trump. So it's not something that he's going to gain. Whereas with JD Vance, there's a lot to gain there. So
being Indian, Oh, and being in that culture will provide more votes for Trump. I do believe that. And anyone that was to read that article will probably understand more. Is like, oh, this man always listens to his wife and everything else. I'm
Mhm.
gonna vote for this guy.
Mm.
On the other hand, Biden, I mean, the debate and all the memes and all the jokes. I mean, you could go Snapchat, you go anywhere in social media. It's not looking good for Biden right now.
No, you're right. It's not looking good for
Nope.
Biden. He had a very weak performance in the debate, and I think we saw this coming. We saw this coming. Like, if you see Bill Maher, or if you see anybody else who's like, is not afraid of like speaking the truth, you see that it's not it's not a it it's a stressful place, right, to be in a president, right? And so Obama went in super young, came out looking like 10 years older after 4 years. So
Yeah,
that high
any
stress.
president, any president that goes in there, they look like
Yeah,
50 years later. Yeah,
it's true.
yeah. Yeah.
So Biden at his age, doing that job is gonna accelerate like anything that he has, right? And
Mhm.
so I think the cat's out of the bag. Um, the only thing is that he's trying to RBG it, and it didn't go well for RBG and our Supreme Court. So I think that he should listen to the people around him and step down and let somebody else take it from there.
But this is the question: that if she steps down, who's going to step in?
So the Democrat Party has painted themselves into a corner, haven't they? They know,
Yeah.
we know,
Yep.
all of us know, none of them want Harris. None of them want Harris. But they've created so much optics with race and with feminism and all that stuff that it's not going to look too good for a party that preaches inclusivity, i.e., you must be brown, and feminism, and then tell the brown woman who's already there, we don't want you.
Yeah. It's a tough sell.
So
I'm gonna. There was an article on MSNBC, and a journalist published an apology of to I'm not of to Jon Stewart, because when Biden got elected, Biden was telling the truth. Biden said that this moment was gonna happen. And I'm gonna tell you right now, is like, I am still surprised that we have Trump and Biden running for president. Where are these other future leaders? Where are the age range between 40 and 50 years old? Where are those people?
Oh,
Where are they hiding at?
That's the
that's
vice
pretty
president.
easy.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
it's the 2024 NBA draft, bro. Like, it's a weak draft.
Oh
So
man,
it's not.
everybody's brony, huh? Ugh.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You
Everybody's
gotta
not.
wait. You gotta wait till the 22nd pick or
So-
something like that. The
It's-
hell with
it's-
number one.
I think that well, the
I
people
have an
that are supposed
idea,
to-
but go ahead, Guido.
it's the people that are supposed to be leading. It's our generation, I guess, Gen Xers now, right? People going into like the 40s, 50s, like we're the ones who be stepping up and stuff, right? But I don't know. I think boomers are still trying to hold on to their power. People are living longer. There's a lot of name familiarity with Trump and Biden. So it's tough to kind of like have new leaders and stuff. It's also like the leaders that are in Congress right now. Like I think if you look at Josh Hawley, like who's gonna vote for that guy, or like Ted Cruz or AOC or
Oh
any of those,
man.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's nobody that really stands out. I think the only one that I think of was the ex Minnesota senator, which was Al Franken, which I think would have been a great opponent to Trump. But
Al
like he had that
Franken.
scandal,
Wow,
and that
Man.
knocked him out. So
You dug that one.
yeah,
Holy cow! Here's my theory. On the Republican side, you do have some young ones. The problem is you have Trump, And the thing with Trump is, in spite of his age, he has not shown any mental decline. And so you add to that the popularity of his previous presidency, and let's face it, the Republican base still has a sour taste in their mouth from 2020, and they feel that, you know, there's still some redemption to be left. They went with him, but there are some good ones in the Republican camp. Between DeSantis, you got Ramaswamy, Vance. There's some good youth in the Republican Party. The Democrats have a different problem. I think, and this is why Biden is president, and this is why they're hanging on to Biden. It's because of the Democrat youth. They are so far to the left, and they know it, and they're not comfortable with those ideas. So they're trying to hold on to old and center for as long as they can. And they're running out of time because everyone who is at least remotely close to the center in the Democrat Party is almost 70 years old. Everybody else is to the left of Bernie, and they're all young. And truthfully, that's the reason why that party has a split. They'll vote together. They're like ants when it comes to policies. They're always together. Yes, no matter what the idea is, they know how to vote together. But when you remove the curtain of unity and you really start getting down to individual ideas, and you start exposing the youth ideas and you start attaching them to the faces, they're not popular.
Okay, so let's kind of unpack the stuff that Carlos said a little bit. So if you're in a bubble or a silo where you're like in a red bubble or a silo, right? Mm-hmm. Anything left of you, right, which is left center, will be extreme right and radical, right? So that's what we have to kind of consider. So we have to take the messenger in context with what they're saying as the message as well, right? There are some centrist candidates for the Democrats, but I don't think that they'll do well with Trump. One is Andy Beshear from Kentucky, who has a good centrist background. Jared Polis from Colorado is another one that could do good. But given that you have a third candidate there, and most of them are like saying, well, F Trump and F Biden or whomever, I'm going to vote and throw away my vote to Robert Kennedy Jr. That's not that. If you do the math, it's not the right math. So that's why Carlos in that respect is correct as far as like the Democrats painting themselves in a corner, right? They're selling Biden another extra 4 years. They're selling him, yeah, he can do it. When we realize that he can't, now everyone's trying to figure out what's the next step. So it's interesting.
No one's prepared for that, and nobody really. I think they winged it. They winged it. You're right, because when did you ever see a president do 4 years and be like, "Yo, this is not for me. I'm out." You just gotta like lose the battle in order to.
There's something 4 years. There's something truly addictive about Washington, and I don't get it, because most of us that look at it from the outside in, we're like, hell no. And Trump is a prime example. Yes, he's an egomaniac, but let's be honest, he's probably the one person that doesn't have to do what he's doing. I mean, Biden, for example, has been a senator for 50 years, right? So truth be told, if Biden ever left office, I don't think he would know what to do with himself. Most of these people become so into the system that that's all they know, and they will die in that system. And you like Guido was saying earlier, RBG died in the system. Feinstein died in the system. We can go on and on.
Biden's going to die in the system.
Biden's going to probably die in the system. Trump wasn't doing any of that until 15. He was selling real estate. He was doing something completely different. He didn't have to take this pay cut. He didn't even take any checks while he was president. And yet, for some sadistic reason, he's back.
I think it's that old adage that says nothing corrupts absolutely than power.
Then power,
right?
I guess.
And
I mean, if it is the power, then
Yeah, so the addictive and the seductive pull of power. So imagine everyone is at your beck and call. Everyone is waiting for your emotions. You're the center of everyone's focus, right? You're the person who is has absolute power and executor of everything, right? This is what we imagine the presidency to be. There's a lot of other, civic things like, co-equal branches of power and stuff that, whatever. We'll glance over that. But imagine you're in a center spot of like the greatest nation in the history of the world. You know, you're gonna develop a mania. You're gonna develop this hyperinflated ego, and there's nothing like power that is so addictive. So that's why I think that when people have it, they don't want to let it go. It's almost like Lord of the Rings when you had the Schmeagol and the ring. Like power is the ring, and Schmeagol is every politician that put the ring.
Now, to that though, I mean, it's got to be a special kind of power. Trump has always been in a position of power, maybe within his own companies, and he's got a big company. He's always been at a seat of power.
Yeah.
And so,
but the thing about power, and I don't mean to interrupt you, is that it's not a person who's comfortable in that seat that's successful. It's people who are uncomfortable in that seat that are successful. So you take the greatest presidents that you had, right? One of them is Abraham Lincoln, right? He's the guy who nobody wanted to be president, and he in the time that nobody should be president in the Civil War, right?
Right.
So he's the one who didn't want to have that amount of power, but was the only person humble enough to do it. George Washington was another one. These are the ideals that we see as far as leaders, right?
Yeah, he didn't want the job.
We don't want people that want the job.
He decided not to extend his time as a president because he didn't want it to be like a dictatorship. That it should be passed on to other leaders as well. That's why he said it too.
But I believe, I believe he got selected. Like, I don't think he was running for the gig either. They chose him, and he was like, okay, yeah.
But there was always a form of vote. But being that he was the hero of America, right, for all the battles that he won, he was the chosen one, and it's okay, But we all learned our lesson from, not to change the subject, but Roosevelt when he had 4 terms. And he passed away on his 4th term, and they amended the law to where only presidents should only do 2 terms.
Right.
Should Congress amend and be an age limit to become president of the United States?
Oh, for sure.
I think so. Of course, because I mean, check out what we have. We have 2 senior citizens running for the presidency. Who's to say that Trump, within the next 2 years, might lose his mind? Who's to say he won't
lose their mind, Frank? Come on now.
I could
lose my mind.
Because look, you know what? When Biden ran, this term, he was still pretty clear, and he spoke a lot better than when he does now.
Yeah, his decline has been
steep, an actual decline with this guy, where it's just.
Yeah,
you see the fumbling of the words. I mean, I think and again, this is not because I like Trump, because I don't, but I think in the conference that he had on Sunday, he said something about a bullseye being on Trump.
There's nothing funnier than having to watch Frank acquiesce or begin to accept that he has to work with someone that he cannot stand. His face.
Dude, I mean, but it's true. I don't have a choice.
We've been there many times where we're forced to have a battle buddy in the army. Funny. And I don't want to work with this guy, but you have to. You know what I mean?
Man,
I remember, I think, Ovi, do you remember Pennington?
Pennington? Yeah.
Okay. I never got along with him.
You got a what?
I never got along with him.
But you had to work with him, huh?
I had to work with him, and he was my battle buddy. It was very fucked up when I told him. I said, dude, if I gotta go to war with you, bro, I'm sorry, you're not coming back.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, and I think
that builds trust right there.
You know
yeah.
what? No. On that note, see, now you took it to another direction. When we went to war, it's just a different meaning, man. We say a lot of shit, but when we go out there, I've learned that these tough leaders weren't so tough after all.
yeah.
That's what I learned.
Yeah.
If there's anything I got out of it, it was like, oh, you trying to dodge a bullet here. You trying to get this other job. Hell no. Get out of here with this bullshit.
So,
but anyways,
just to piggyback off what Frank said, we all have to learn how to work together. And
absolutely.
I think that it's time to kind of like taper down on the rhetoric and kind of coalesce into what policies these two candidates bring.
I'm gonna make a prediction. Guido, I'm gonna make a prediction.
Go ahead.
So I'm looking at this 2024 primary elections map, and it got me thinking of how it used to look on the 2020 of on November election day. This year, I am going to see all red except for Northeast. So this right here, watch this.
It can't
This
be.
right here. This is exactly what's gonna happen.
No way.
Only
I won't even buy
area
that.
is gonna be blue.
Yeah, no.
As much as I would like for that to happen, there's no way that those three states on the left side are gonna. No way.
No. I didn't.
Washington,
This is
Oregon,
just
and
this is just the
California.
website. I didn't color this. Okay, but this right here is gonna be a clean sweep. We're not gonna wait for over I don't know how many hours or days to find out who's the president. We're gonna know that as soon as it starts closing.
Start closing things again at 2 a.m.
By
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We
having vans drive around again. People boarding up windows, hiding stuff. Well, no, I don't know.
You guys are really traumatized about the pandemic, huh? Really?
Wow. No, this ain't the pandemic. This is exactly what happened on election night.
Wow. It was a weird thing, but I think that at the end of the day, like
I like that weird.
It was a weird day, right?
No.
I don't think that it was stolen or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't.
No, of course it wasn't stolen.
You know what I'm saying? Like we don't.
But that's the thing, though. You're gonna have to prepare yourself for 2028 when it's time for his ass to get out.
He's gonna move out.
Here we go
that's
again.
the law, right? And if he doesn't, then the army's gonna go ahead and kick him out. So he's got no other choice.
I'm not saying anything, Frank. I mean, you tell people to go home, other people stay behind. Shit suddenly shows up, windows get covered. Nothing happened. Don't worry about it.
I mean,
nothing happened.
What you're talking about, like what you're proposing in like jest. You're proposing a coup, right? And you're proposing like a dictatorship from one of like the most storied social experiments that you have in the world, right? Here's an idea of self-governance for the people by the people. And you're going to throw that out because you want to see Trump there for another 8 years? Like it makes no sense.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that there are other people who would rather see Biden there for another 4 years. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying like that's the beauty of our democracy, right? Like we have opinions and we have differences and like
we do, but we also have a complete lack of clarity in our voting right now. It's the problem.
I think
because we can vote for whoever the hell we want.
Yeah, it's not clarity. I think what's happening is that someone like tainted something with a doubt. Nobody really knows how the process is because it's a difficult process, and so then you have questions and it's like anything else.
I don't know what's going to happen this time. I know for 2020, though, COVID allowed for a shit ton of rule changes, and it is still fair to say that there is nothing wrong with people doubting 2020 because of all the shenanigans.
I'm not saying doubt is fine. Like you can doubt 2020, you could doubt 2008 or 2004 when supposedly Bush Gore when Gore won by 587 and the Supreme Court.
Oh man, dude, that was a conspiracy, bro.
You can have those opinions, but
y'all live in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all y'all fault, man. It's all.
Hey,
y'all
listen,
fault.
Florida got their shit together, man. Florida, say what you want about Florida, man. The results are in
Hey,
quick.
Al Gore was supposed to be the president.
There's no door
Brother
closing
Bush
and all that
said,
nonsense happening here
we
anymore.
ain't
Yeah,
doing
but
that.
what did he do? Like, what did he do? What do real men do? Right? He conceded. He said, you know what? Like, for the best of the country, let this guy win. You know,
Yeah, and then we
we
won the
took it
war.
to the court.
Yeah,
He was a real man, right?
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
what Trump did, right? That's why I'm not gonna
Trump
vote
was
for the
like,
dude.
Trump was like, I'm
'Cause,
gonna win,
yeah,
and when I lose, I
he
still win.
he
He
still
got
said it
that
with
book.
Hillary.
He
He
got that
won it,
playbook
and
from
he
the
even said it with Hillary. If I don't win, it's rigged. It's like a
Scarface.
little baby, you know. So that's the thing. Like, that's my gripe with the dude, right? You gotta be a man in life, and that's not his deal. So.
Look, every presidential election has three parties, right?
It's
Three
easy to
major
say
parties.
when the results go your way,
Right.
but
You
is
got
what it
you got
is.
the
It didn't go-
Democrat, you got the Republican, you got an independent. Do you guys think that the percentage for an independent will increase in this election?
No.
No, and it's unfortunate. I still think that we have to visit this whole two-party problem. I get it because they don't want the extremes to get their shit to their say. That's kind of like a barrier. That's why they forced a two-party system. But it's not fair, man. If there's a third party and it's a reasonable candidate and they're gaining traction,
But
let them debate.
I think with your Republicans, you have two parties in one. Because especially right now, because you have your Trumpies and you have your non-Trumpies also.
Oh, both parties have that
Okay.
problem.
Yeah,
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
That's
you have the
where I'm
Hillarys and
going.
the Bernies and stuff, and right now you have like AOC and Biden.
And
Kind of.
I feel
with the
sometimes that the
Democrats,
people not sure of Trump, not sure of Biden, may jump ship and be like, "Well, who's this third person? Let me vote him in because I don't know shit about him." You know what I mean?
But like again, like
Mhm.
I don't think you'll see that in this election, but you'll probably see that in the next election. You probably see a third party candidate come, with not to win the vote because there's too much money and corruption in these two parties
Hell
to even
yeah.
break anything, right?
There's always been corruption, man. They just more
Yeah.
exposed now.
Well,
And
you know what?
Even
After
being
what
exposed,
happened
they
with
still don't get in trouble.
after what happened with Perot, they don't want a third party.
Ross Perot, you got to bring ears.
oh my
into
God.
Yo,
if
I
you
was a
look at
little
the
kid,
numbers,
man.
if you look at the numbers, it's safe to say that Clinton won because of Perot.
Yeah, because he
And
caught
so-
what's his name? Who was he running against? Bush, right?
Bush, yeah,
Right.
he took the math, the way the math looked. Perot, I think, took most of the votes from the Republicans.
Yeah,
so,
but Bush messed up on himself because he put himself out there, almost like what Trump did during his presidency. And I will not raise taxes. And then
no
they
new
kept
taxes.
saying that stuff.
But
And that was like you just said a bad word. That was the bad word back in the days.
Reagan said the same thing.
Who?
Ronald Reagan said the same thing. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
but he
raise
was a
taxes.
celebrity, man. People loved him.
But he still raised
People
taxes.
loved him. He loved them.
It was a recession. So
He
you
fought
needed to do
that
what you
Cold
needed to do.
War, man. See, he won a battle without a bullet. That's Ronald Reagan, man.
that is true. So
Speaking of bullets.
bullets.
Speaking of bullets.
Uh-oh.
Right. I'm sure we all heard the news on Saturday. All right. I know that I was outside in front of my house talking on the phone with somebody, and I got a text. Trump's been shot. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I stood on the phone. I'm like, I'll call you in a minute. Let me finish my phone call. Like, I was like, yeah, whatever. Trump got shot in this day and age. And then this guy below me, right here, says, hey, Trump got shot. I was like, what? Wait a minute. So my thing here is, all right, he got shot. Is Trump going to change directions right now?
Nah.
Because there's people saying that he's changing directions, that he's a little bit more humbler.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah. I think that, his shtick is always going to be strength, right? And so he had the presence of mind to raise his fist. Anybody else would duck down and try to like hide, but he had the presence of mind to like raise his fist and understand that that was a moment that he needed to seize with strength, and he took that opportunity, right?
Yeah, but could that
Even if
have
it was
just
a show.
been okay? But could that have just been him being Trump of old, and maybe once he got to the hospital and he sat with his family? And I'm just playing devil's advocate.
No, that's true. Yeah,
Because
you have
I
again,
don't
an
know.
own
I don't know
reflection.
what kind of
again,
adrenaline
I
was going
can't
through him
stand
at
the
that
fucking
time. I
guy.
mean, you just got shot.
Right.
Yes, it's like responses. So it's either fight, flight, or freeze.
Right.
So,
Right. So I think that might have been just a reaction on his side where he was like, hey, you know what? I'm alive. I'm still here. Okay.
So-
Again, I can't stand the fucking guy. But I think that
It took
you know
3 seconds. man.
some views have to change. Like,
Yeah.
look, I mean, here we got the video right here.
With regards to the fist up thing, I believe while he was down and Secret Service was communicating, they relayed the message to him that the shooter was down. So at that point, Trump kind of knew, okay, I don't really have to like get out of here, but yes, I'm going to leave anyway. But I think he knew he had the time to at least acknowledge the crowd, and he did what he did.
Yeah.
Which was
But you also got to be
brilliant.
careful as a security person that even though they shot the shooter, that there could be a possibility of a second shooter.
Or
You know what
third
I mean?
shooter.
Like,
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
know what we're getting at, and we're not
yeah.
there to see. But what is in question, because now everyone is trying to be nitpicky as what was the security like?
Yeah.
What was the Secret Service or whoever is responsible for the safety of Trump? Because again, a former president, that should have never happened. But you know, I mean, Ronald Reagan, they almost tried to assassinate him, stuff like that. So something's about to give, right? But you're right. I still feel as though they should have took him instead of worry about his shoes. He should have just up and left because he got a lot of money. He could buy himself another pair.
Yeah, the thing about is that sometimes the security details for former presidents is not as tight, or it's not as, I guess not. That's the incorrect word. Right? It's not as vast,
adequate as the actual ones for the president. Which again, that should never happen. It's still the same.
But it happened in
agency.
Reagan, right? And so, like any motivated person, who's hyper motivated, can do some crazy things, right? That's usually part of the rules of engagement, right? So if you're fighting someone, and this person is perceived to have an advantage, even if it is tangible, or that you feels like he can go like berserk, like he has an advantage over you as a fighter, right? So anybody who's hyperly motivated to do something will find a way. So it doesn't matter if you insulate yourself in concrete. There's always a way, right? But that said, yeah, I agree that you can't have like clear openings from elevated positions, right, to a candidate that's so polarizing as Trump, right? And so it was a big security mistake. I'm happy and I'm glad that nothing happened.
Well, something did happen. One person's dead out of this whole
that's
thing,
two are critical
condolences to his family, and that's pretty.
And
bad.
that's a couple of shots. I mean, there was like 4 or 5 shots.
Sounded like 6 or 7 shots.
Yeah, it was like 7 or 8 actually. But you shouldn't have political violence, especially like when we are this great experiment, right? Like their passions are tested, and we say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, all of us are Americans. No one here can say that that they root for the other team or whatever, right? Democrats and Republicans, we have different ideas, but it's the same house, right? So that's what we got to come with, right? Like, I wouldn't want anything to happen to Trump, just like I wouldn't want anything to happen to anyone.
I don't know if it matters if it's the same house, though. I remember the first murder. The first murder on this entire planet was 2 brothers. One of them killed each other. One of them killed the other one.
So the problem lies here.
You subscribe to that?
Exactly.
The problem lies. The The problem
Frank, come on,
lies.
Frank. Go ahead, say it, Frank.
Yeah, Frank didn't interrupt. The problem lies is that these two individuals, okay, and speaking Trump and speaking Biden, have gone to war with each other, and it's dirty. Okay, one of them cuts the other one, the other one cuts the other one, and they go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. All right, I mean, look, prime examples was the debate. All right, the people, the moderators were asking questions. They did behave, but there's still, there were still shots fired on each side.
Yeah.
But that's a debate, Frank.
No, but it doesn't matter, dude. When you sit here and you do that for fucking 4 years, because that's what happened. The past 4 years, they shoot at one another. Okay, and so what happens? You're gonna have people that are gonna be radicals, all right, and they're gonna do stupid shit like this stupid kid did.
Yeah, when you have
right.
things, when you have commercials where you're saying things like that a vote for Trump is going to be the end of America and democracy as a whole, right? Or things like the radical left should be eliminated, and if they sit in the way, they need to be eliminated. These are kind of like fiery statements that should not be made in politics, right? Like we're supposed to have policy debates as far as like, hey, what are we going to do with my taxes? How are you going to spend that? Are we going to regulate oil? You know what I'm saying? That's not what
Nobody's
we're talking
about it.
We're literally talking about the Crips and the Bloods, actually, right? And nobody knows why they're fighting. We just know we're fighting.
Why am I paying over $400 in groceries each week?
Exactly.
When I used to pay $100 to $200. Why is my electricity bill going sky high? Why is there a monopoly? Why is the fuel getting more expensive?
Exactly.
Why haven't we not dropped it back down? We're not at war anymore, right?
Well, I mean,
because other countries at war, we got to be affected by it. No, this is supposed to be the country of the free, but we're not living the freedom as how we felt freedom back in a decade ago.
It's not that. It's just that what is obfuscated from you guys and from the general public, and I think that some of that is behind the cloth, is behind the cloak, is that there's a global recession. Like it's worldwide. It's inflation is worldwide, right? There's a lot of money that was pumped into the system when it comes to like giving out the checks during the Trump administration for COVID, and that money needs to get burned off, right? Because like, let's say you have a thing that costs $20, right? If everyone has $20, right, that means everybody can buy that thing. So all of a sudden that thing now it's no longer $20, but it's not $40 because everybody could afford the $20.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
That's how the economy works.
That's how it is, right? So that's what's happening, right? And it's on a global scale. And so even though you see the numbers of saying, oh yeah, the unemployment's under 3%, and the Fed had to raise the interest rates because inflation was out of hand. It was at 4%, which is too much to handle. So,
but that doesn't give right for the low class or those that just barely making it in the middle class to be affected through their pockets, man. Like it's
but then
sad
what
the way things are going.
So then what type of policy would you put in act to kind of relieve that? Would you go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get some money from the government that's already spending too much money and send it to people that need it to cover their bills and exasperate inflation even further?
No, you make uncomfortable cuts that nobody wants to do.
You want to make
exactly.
You got to make cuts that nobody wants. That's the problem. That's the issue. Politicians are too scared to do them. Oh, they're going to cut.
The politicians want to stay in office.
Yeah, they want to stay in office.
Don't have the courage.
You got to cut Medicaid. You got to cut. You got to cut Social Security. You got to cut this. You got to cut that. You should cut defense spending.
That's the problem with politics.
Nobody wants to touch
today. And not to step over you, Carlos, but we don't have politicians that were able to speak the truth because they have to say things in a political way to not target anyone so they can remain in office.
Yeah, we're too involved into social issues and not policy issues. That's the issue, right? We're too into who sleeps with who wants to define themselves as who, and what minorities are not getting
that's deliberate.
A full right?
That's
So it's
deliberate.
distractive. It detracts. It doesn't give you a clear idea of like what policies that we were supposed to put in place to, like, let's say, alleviate inflation, alleviate prices being raised because people can't afford shit, right? I was seeing something on Instagram where you had like people living in cars in Silicon Valley. You know, Silicon Valley is one of the highest, hottest the real estate markets out there. $6,000 in rent for something like, it's like a 1 bedroom, 700 or 600 square feet, 6 grand, right? People are sleeping in their cars. Doctors are apparently, this is hearsay, so I can't confirm this, but I've heard that, you know, at the worst part of like this housing inflation, that doctors or residents from doctors were sleeping in tents, and then going into work, right? I don't know how true that is, but this is something that's out there, right? That's
Silicon Valley.
that's the issue of the day, right? That's the issue. Like, your rent is going up, your all the costs are going up, but you cannot you're still, your wages haven't gone up, right? So instead of fighting for, hey, who's on the blue team, who's on the red team, these are the questions that we should be asking, right? Because this is the thing that kind of hurts us the most, right? And then we have to elect a person that we think is going to try to use their policies to kind of alleviate that. And I think both candidates in this election have not even touched policy at all. It's been like, well, my handicap's at 8. Well, I heard your handicap's at 6. And that's what we're getting, right? We're getting shafted and we're getting distracted, right? So, you know.
Well, I don't know. I think the problem's a little deeper than just Trump and Biden. I think the rhetoric has been going on for far too long. I'd say since 2015. If you really think about it, this kid was 8 years old when Trump first went down the escalator. And by my account, the rhetoric, particularly from the media, has been absolutely awful since even longer. But I don't even know if I would go that route. Guido, I know
I would, and I'll tell you why. Because
I have an issue when people throw out the word both sides. To me, that's a bit of a scapegoat. I don't recall, conservative media for the most part labeling half of America as fascists, as Nazis, as a threat, as that all started on the other side. Now, of course, because the liberties had been taken so freely, the right eventually morphed into that and came back with the whole communist language. So, yeah, it evolved there. I don't believe it started there. So I'm not one to just accept both sides blanketly like that. Okay, I'm not the type. I'm not the one.
I respect your opinion.
So, but let me finish. So this message of the whole end of democracy, Nazi, Hitler, fascist, white supremacist, has been going on for 9 years now. 9 years now. So, this kid was like in elementary school when he started hearing all this, and he's 20 now. What did we expect? We have a whole generation of people that think like that kid. Did you not see the responses on social media about how he shouldn't have missed? That's just common language now. Oh, we would have been saved had he not missed. If he was just an inch to the left, we would have been saved. That's a common thought. That's not off the cuff. That's not sparse. That's not like one or two people. There's a buttload of people that are repeating exactly what this kid was thinking when he was pulling the trigger. It's not just Trump and Biden. In fact, I'd say they're the least of the problem. We've had a media establishment now for years that have been blowing people up and labeling people as the threats of the end of the world and the end of the country. And then, of course, they're going to associate to whatever leader they want to associate it with to wrap up that whole package. And I'm going to say it's been a lot worse for Trump than it has been for any Democrat.
Oh, really?
So here we are.
That's good, because I don't know. I remember the Obama years where Fox Media went to town on the guy, right? Even bringing up his alleged, ineligibility because he was born in Kenya, and
Okay.
like this is stuff that we can go back and forth and tit for tat, right?
Would I want to
but
blow up?
unless
Would I want to shoot somebody because they're ineligible, or would I want to shoot them because they're Hitler?
But
This is incomparable.
This is the rhetoric that you know what I'm saying. It's like the pebble that becomes a snowball, right? So like we're at the tail end, we're at the bottom of the mountain, and we're getting run over by a big ass snowball, right? But like this language started with Karl Rove. It started with like, with Newt Greenwich, right? The New American Century, the New American Revolution. Like we need to make sure that we need to defeat and eliminate the threat of the left, right? Like this is
But the
common
left signed on to
vernacular
that. If
from
you want to
from the
talk about
conservatives.
Gingrich, and the contract for America, Clinton signed off on that. That was the most bipartisan thing that's happened in this country
But
in forever.
my point is that the rhetoric that you're hearing is not necessarily just from one direction, right? This is from both sides. Candidates in Senate races for like 4 years ago have like taken pictures of themselves with guns, talking about boom. Let's eliminate fucking Nancy Pelosi, and then something happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband. Yeah, so it's not just one side, right?
So
like we if
It's
we're gonna
affecting everyone here. It really
yeah
is. Politics and everything. Everything's more exposed now with the internet and everything else that people are or saying whatever to say behind devices and stuff. And we knew this was going to happen, and we're at a point that when you boil the water, right, or when you're cooking, and then all of a sudden things start to overflow. Everything's spilled, man. And our country, like I said this before. Before we used to feel safe. We used to feel that there's such a freedom. It's not anymore. Anything that happens as soon as you leave this door, man, it's not but act of violence. You can't even have gatherings anymore because you got mass shootings. And again, with inflation and everything else that's going on, man, we're in a world of trouble. Yeah. America is in trouble. And to top of all of that, let's go on to a different topic. And Frank, if you don't mind, or Carlos, Terrell Davis, a Pro Football Hall of Famer,
the running back from the Broncos.
He was on flight at United Airlines, and all he wanted to do was get a couple eyes, just tap the what they call them now. They're not stewardess no more, right? They're flight attendants. Yeah, same shit. But
I agree.
Anyways,
they'll eventually be air specialist personnel.
Man. He got wrongfully detained.
For what? I really don't even know this story, man. This is all brand new. I have not heard of this. Yeah, no, I haven't heard.
So what happens is?
So he said you wanna go ahead.
Go for it. Go.
He was detained by authorities last Saturday. Matter of fact, you got Trump going on. Now you got Davis going on. Everything's happening simultaneously. In California, after he lightly tapped a flight attendant's arm to ask for a cup of ice. An episode that said left him feeling humiliated, embarrassed, and powerless, and very angry. And the thing is that the story was so vague. There's so many scenarios that could have happened, but the thing is that Terrell Davis didn't do anything wrong.
Only thing what happened there is I think it was his son asked the flight attendant for a cup of water as they were walking by.
Now they didn't say that. It just said Terrell Davis.
No,
well, it says it happened in front of his family.
Okay, right. So Terrell Davis. I know his kids were there or whatnot, but whatever. So the person kept walking. He tapped, and that's when the whole thing started. In a sense,
the flight attendant went to the pilot or whatever, made a complaint, and then when they landed, the FBI and everybody else was waiting for Terrell Davis, and then they arrested him.
Why?
In front of his family.
But what did he do actually? Like, what did he did he flip out? Like, what did he do?
No. It looks like from what I'm reading here, the flight attendant absolutely overreacted to being tapped on the shoulder.
You see that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're getting to the point where it's like everyone is super hypersensitive about stuff, right? Yeah, that's upsetting.
That's
Man.
this new generation.
That's today's world.
Yeah.
Everybody's super sensitive. You cannot tell anybody anything because they're gonna flip out on you for whatever reason there is.
I miss the 90s. I really do miss the 90s. I want to go back to the show and live in color.
Oh my God.
Dude,
Wow.
dude, take it even further. What was his show name with Archie Bunker? What was
Oh, you got Archie Bunker. You got the Jeffersons.
Yeah. I think the new generation needs to sit down and watch an episode of All in the Family, The Jeffersons, and Blazing Saddles every weekend.
They won't because they will be buttered.
Yeah.
You know, the far left might still be watching was it Bonanza?
Yeah,
Little House in the Prairie.
It's getting too bad. I don't know what's going on with like the world as far as like the sensitivity and stuff. Like tapping on somebody on their shoulder shouldn't like evolve a reaction like that, right?
No, but at the same time, I mean, saying excuse me or whatever, finding a different way to get their attention could be. But I mean, I don't think I would like somebody to be touching me anyway. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, but
however, this could have been worse than what it is. It could have been racially profiled. It could have been, you know what I mean? Like it could have gone deeper than Trump's assassination attempt. And I'm surprised that people are not rioting or protesting. Oh my God, this is what you did to Terrell Davis. We don't hear none of that.
What do you mean? I'm confused there.
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't? Every time something happens to a black person, we always have a protest. We always have something.
Correct.
Chaos, whatever, right? We didn't get that out of this, right? Because we're so like into Trump's assassination, which covered the whole thing. That's why you, Carlos, is like, oh, I didn't hear about this. Of course not. You know, that wasn't the top story of Saturday.
Well, I mean, hell, Richard Simmons passed away, and we got to mourn his ass for 8 minutes before Trump got shot.
Yeah.
Talking about celebrities,
super healthy,
so
bro?
many.
Like, how did he die at 70?
Yeah, I never did read the cause. I mean, as healthy as he was, I don't know. I don't know.
Was he?
But he was in his 70s already.
I don't think he was that healthy anymore.
Really? Like he used to have like his own little workout tape and stuff.
Yeah, but that was in the 80s,
Jazzercise, I think it was, or something.
You know what year this is?
Yeah, no, man. No, look, it says cause of death being investigated. That's the last thing we see. So
76.
Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, today and age, like 76, you're still kind of like young.
I mean,
right?
look at our presidents.
He died the day after his birthday, man. Ain't that sad?
Look at our election.
Yeah, that's sad.
So,
yeah.
I don't know, man. And then, I mean, Twitter, it's been a fascinating week. And I know this weekend I'm going to do my own personal video, but there's been a lot of eye-opening things, even for me. So you got the RNC going on right now. And Amber Rose, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this woman. I'm not even that familiar with her, but she's like this celebrity. She's got an OnlyFans, but at the same time though, she has like
I knew I heard that name before.
Yeah. She's a Trump supporter now, and she even made a video with I don't even know the guy's name. Bottom line is they have a Trump track out there, and she's all in. She's all in on Trump. And she actually went to the RNC and busted out a really good speech. So the next day on Twitter, though, I began to see the fracture in the Republican Party. You have these hardliners that are just like, we're inviting this type of woman to the party. And then you have other people like myself who are like, shut the fuck up. The whole point of this is to open the tent and let people in, man. We can't have this narrow-minded bullshit. Get out. And so... go ahead, Frank.
Sorry to interrupt you, but this is where I go. How do these parties plan to unite, right? Everybody, when they're not united themselves?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, so I think as a society, in one aspect, the idea of trying to be inclusive is welcome by everybody. Nobody has a problem with that. And that includes Republicans now. The issue is the fringes. So on the Republicans, you have these like hardline Christians, and I've been saying for a long time, you've heard me say it before, Frank, the Republican Party has to divorce itself to a certain extent from Christianity. I'm not saying that they shouldn't try to think or how do I say, kind of mold themselves around Christian ideas, but to be so strict about it, that shit has to go. That has to go. Mm-hmm. And so, but they, for especially, and honestly, this all started with Trump. You have people, the Republican Party has now done or is doing its best to open itself to as many people from as many walks of life as possible. And so, believe it or not, those hardliners, they got a trashing yesterday from everybody else. On the left, Frank, you have, the way I see it, they have the same inclusivity goal. The problem with them is they feel that an entire race of people are the reason why we're not inclusive. So they are once again dividing people by boxes and by races, causing division within their own party. As a result, they fraction themselves all the time. And that's why they never seem to get along within their own party. And that's where that's kind of how it's working. I think as time goes on, hopefully those fringes will weed themselves out. And then
I have to agree with Carlos there. I think that the fringes have too much, I think, say and sway in the parties. Mm-hmm. I agree with Carlos 100% that the Republicans, to extend the tent, need to kind of relinquish some of those hardline Christian ideas, and the Democrats should continue to, they shouldn't
stop blaming white people for everything.
Yeah, they should stop blaming.
Let's just say it. Stop blaming white people for everything.
Like everyone has prejudice. Like everyone has these ideas in them, right?
Talking about prejudice, I like that word, prejudice. Yeah. That's gonna lead me to my next topic here. But go ahead.
We're all prejudice.
I watch a lot of sports, man. So there's a lot of prejudice going on in sports.
Is this a WNBA thing? I smell the WNBA.
WNBA. Caitlin Clark, man. Yeah. Like, I see Caitlin Clark and Reese as the old school
Bird Johnson,
Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. I really do. I called it from the very beginning. Yeah. And to see how Caitlin Clark is being treated in this league, if it was the other way around, we'd be saying,
I'm with you, Guido. I know exactly where you're going.
Go ahead, Guido. I'm sorry.
No, Guido, I'm saying, like if I don't know if you've seen the game, right? But if you see a game where you're looking at Angel Reese and you're looking at Caitlin Clark, like Angel Reese is not doing that well. You feel me?
Overrated.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
overrated.
I understand where you're coming from.
Like I don't
but they're rookies though. You know what I'm saying? They're rookies. They'll get there. You know, but I mean, they're not going to be the same level as how Larry Bird and Magic Johnson played out to be, right?
Nah.
But Clark and Reese, they got so much popularity. You know what I'm saying? Like they could change. They could change everything in the WNBA and put them more on the map.
So I'm gonna be completely honest with this situation, and this is where Guido was going.
Go ahead.
I believe so. If Guido, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But
please.
Here's the deal. From what I've seen, Caitlin and Reese are not on the same playing field. They're not. Caitlin is proving that she's the real deal. Reese, in my opinion, is being held up and pushed up as much as possible by everyone else in the league. And so what is happening?
Because
that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? Is it? Well, okay, is it a color thing?
Black.
Let's call it for what it is. Let's call it for what it is. Is it because she's black?
Yeah.
And that's a very so then do we have a racism problem in the WNBA?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Yes, or at least it appears that we do.
You know what I'm bothered is that the WNBA fought so hard to have Title IX, to have a women's professional sport. And now that you have it, instead of launching for success, now it's like you're going backwards. Why are you going to have race within your own organization?
I think because like,
Why isn't the NBA?
And it's not just race though; it's jealousy.
Issues with
it's jealousy.
The NBA draft.
It's jealousy too. They're jealous too. I mean,
waited what, the 4th pick to get our first American to be drafted. They got the top 2 from France, 1 from Spain. You know what I mean? Like, no one's making issues about that. So why the WNBA gotta make issues with Caitlin Clark?
I think
it's just unfair.
Black lesbians are not happy that a white straight woman is coming in and selling out their arenas. That's it. That's it. That's it. Right. Tell me I'm wrong. Anybody?
No, I'm not saying either
anybody.
Way. I think that.
That's what I thought.
I don't know the sexual orientation, and I'm going to stay away from that area.
Yeah,
but I do know that we have a comment. We do have an agreement that Caitlin Clark is putting. It's the star. She's the future star. She's a star, and she get more attention now because of the shit that they're doing.
But she's getting the attention. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Guido. Sorry.
Put into context, like where the game is going, right? So the game is no longer a center that's going to be dominant, right? It's these guards that are going on the 3-point line and they're making more shots and they're playing the percentages, right? Mm-hmm. So that is what Caitlin Clark is bringing to the end. So the NBA has evolved, right, into this Steph Curry like 3-point shot, like, you know what I'm saying?
It's been evolved, but
it's been evolved, right? So you're talking about like
the game changed a long time ago. Go ahead.
You even got stretch fives, like
the NBA is having a bit of a problem too.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's boring.
So you have stretch fives. So you have like centers like Jokic and centers like Embiid who are shooting the 3-pointers, right? So the game has changed to the outside. So here comes Caitlin Clark who models that game, right? But the WNBA still plays like they're in the 60s, right? They want a big person in the middle, feed them, they're gonna do whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So those two ideas are clashing in on top of all the other social ideas and social stuff that's being brought up to the forefront, right? So that's also one of the most interesting things that I've seen about the NBA, right? Not so much like the social stuff because I think that just muddles the water. But from a player perspective, right, you got these two players that are completely different, and Caitlin Clark is revolutionizing, like trying to change the way the WNBA is going to be played, and like the old guard resisting that change. So it's a fascinating dynamic.
It's happening in the NBA too. I mean, no one's questioning the success of the league, but in the last few years, you've had 2 white European players completely dominating the league, and the unhappiness of everybody else is quite evident.
Hey, but you know what? Gino Auriemma had said this in his speech, and he goes, "Why do you think that they're going out there to Europe? Because here's the difference between Europe and United States. In the United States, it's all about having more games played. Over there, they practice. In Europe, they practice arts and craft. They practice their craft. They want to build their skills, okay, to be better. So they practice more than play the game, in which we lost it here. Yeah, everything is about games, and you got to have money. For example,
all about the money.
Frank, you and I were in this, right? I have to pay so much money for my kids to play in the league. Okay. And I know, Frank, you had to do the same thing, but how far do we go with that? Oh, by the way, hey, we got to practice, but we got 3-4 games coming up, but you're playing games, but not practice. So you're not building the knowledge. You're not building the skills. I like to say this: situation awareness, like in baseball. Yeah, you catch the ball. Yeah, you could bat the ball. But when we're playing defense, how do you know that you got to throw the ball to second base? How do we get the double play? How do you know if the ball's in the outfield, how to get it to the cutoff man? We don't practice those skills, but we're forcing our youths to always play games over and over again. Figure it out as you go. That's not right.
I
So
think. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. I
No,
think
I'm complete.
I think that we also got to take into account the style of play that you see in the NBA versus in Europe, right? So Europe is all about ball movement. Like you have
And
a team game,
perimeter.
right?
It's
So
always
you're
been ball movement and perimeter.
in
Right.
perimeter. So you have
Discipline.
like transition offense, right? If you get it
Mhm.
up fast enough, if not, you're set up on your half court and you're passing the ball from wing to wing just to get the right timing and spacing so your 3-pointer can shoot, right? So it's
Right.
more of a team game. Whereas like
Just how my Celtics won this year. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so but instead, like in the NBA for years, it's always been a two-man game, right? Like pick and roll, right?
Right.
So
Right.
and then spread the floor. So you have your three players, your two power forwards are outside, your centers is setting a pick for your guard, and the guard is like almost like the what do you call that in the NFL? The cat thing where like you're the
Salary
running
cap?
Wildcat.
yeah, like wildcat
A
with a pass
Wildcat.
option.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Okay,
what a
my
pick and
bad.
roll is pretty much, right? So you got two players rolling to the
Sure.
thing, and so the ball handler has to make a decision either take it or pass it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's no
The
that's
Army
not
football game, Wildcat formation. Any three players could
for the
run the
run
ball.
option. That's what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
got
about,
you.
right?
Run options.
Wait,
Okay.
I'm
Run options
confused. Are we
similar
talking
to
about the pick and
roll.
roll or are we talking about Wildcat?
I don't
No,
know.
my bad,
This
my
guy
bad.
lost me.
I'm sorry. I'm confusing stuff for you.
Listen,
My
Guido,
bad.
Guido,
You know what
I
I'm saying?
love you on politics, but in sports, you gotta leave it alone.
I know, but I'm saying I know, but I'm saying like in Europe, you're playing the team game versus like the two-man game in the NBA.
But
So
I'm gonna go back to what I'm saying. In Europe, they're teaching them discipline. There ain't that much discipline in the United States.
I mean, to get to the level of the NBA, you gotta have a lot of discipline. You can't just
Do
swing
you
it.
really? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
look
yeah.
what's going on today with the news off the court. You know what I mean? Like,
What's
it's
off the
so
court?
much. Oh man, people getting celebrities getting arrested and everything
No,
else.
but that's celebrities.
Why?
I'm talking
You
about like
mean
Like,
I
Jaylen
think
Brown.
so much
I
more.
think what
into
Ovi's saying.
into
I think
this.
what Ovi is saying is that. Well, Ovi, I think you're right, but the phenomenon you're describing occurs once they become professional. Once the money shows up, the dedication problem that you're describing begins. Because Guido's right. For them to make it to the league, with the exception of Bronny, we know damn well why he's there.
What are you talking about? He's a great athlete.
Yeah,
He plays
whatever.
great.
Yeah, he's tall.
You know
Good.
what? I kind of like the story about Brian. Let's hold on. I get it, but I kind of like the story to where you see a father pushing their child to be at a certain level, and for having a dream that one day they could play in the same team. You know what I mean? I like
Right.
that. It's like going back
and
to the
getting
Griffey days.
paid
Uh-huh.
crazy amounts of
Right.
money for putting up numbers
Absolutely.
that they don't deserve. Mhm.
But they're
Right.
never going to be in that level with Ken Griffey Jr. and his father when they used to both play. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Cincinnati Reds, right?
yeah, yeah.
I
yeah.
think so.
Father
No, it
son
was
were
Mariners. The
playing in
Mariners.
one team.
The Mariners.
The Mariners. The
first, yeah,
Mariners.
and then
That's
and then
right.
Weren't
Griffey
you just
Jr. was
talking
the-
about sports and leave that shit alone? Man, you better look at the
No,
mirror.
I know, but dude, that's been a long
And
time.
you're a baseball guy too.
Hey,
Yeah.
but anyways, I get it. I like the story. I love the story. I love a beautiful story, man. I really do. But it sucks because in the NBA, you don't have that many rounds.
The
So,
difference
like,
here, though,
whoever's
is
really good didn't get a slot.
the difference here, though, is Ken Griffey Jr., if I'm not mistaken,
He's a Hall of Famer.
when he was leaving college, he was already showing that he belonged.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, if anybody can correct me, I'm not a Bronny expert, but from what I heard, from what little knowledge I know, he wasn't spectacular in college. He didn't warrant or merit the draft position he got, the check he's getting, and the numbers he's showing now kind of verify that.
Well, the kid
So-
had a heart attack.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
I didn't know these things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
He
They
did.
had a
So
heart
why
attack.
is he in an NBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, then
he's
why is
lucky
he even
got paid.
there? I mean,
mean,
if the
well,
doctors cleared you, the doctors cleared you.
Ain't the Ball family better than Bronny?
Oh, God, that's
Bryce.
a massive, wow.
Bryce. Yo,
You
see
remember?
Bryce?
You remember when the father came out?
My
with
son is the greatest.
$400 sneakers.
That's
No,
a
no, 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 no.
disaster.
You know, LeBron's second son, Bryce.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
That kid's already like 6'5", and he's like 13 years old.
and can't make a free throw. All right,
What are you talking about? Like he's shooting threes like nothing.
but no free throws.
Wow.
Nothing's free, baby.
Great. So he's got Shaq-itis on the free throw line, is what you're saying?
Does he? No, I think he has a good shot. Hold on.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know,
We'll see.
but to Ovi's point though, the dedication, there is a fall off for most. Not everybody's Kobe. In fact, barely any of them are. There seems to be a dedication issue once you get there. And I guess in Ovi's mind, in Europe, that phenomenon doesn't exist, even for the Europeans that are playing here. And I guess, that's debatable. That's something you could look at. But in the last few years, 2 white guys have been dominating the league, and there's been this unhappiness. And now in the WNBA, it's the same problem. White girl shows up, and all of a sudden, I'm playing in my home arena. Mm-hmm. That girl's visiting us, and suddenly this place is full. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't see. I mean, who's getting bitter at the NBA when Luka and Jokic are dominating?
Oh, there's I've seen numerous rumblings about yeah, you have a lot of there's a lot of racial undertone, a lot of black commentators always harping on Doncic and all that. It's there. Look at him.
Luka doesn't help himself.
But those guys
Luka
don't count,
doesn't help himself, man, because remember that clip that when they lost, that he had a beer in his hand, and one of the admins had to remove the beer out of his hand. Like at every game, he has to have a drink. That's not good, man.
That's a Europe thing, though.
What do you mean? Wait. You're right. We're talking. Wait. What do you mean? What do you mean it's not good to have a drink in your hands?
Oh God!
What do you mean?
This is Frank. We're talking.
You're
not supposed to be having drinks while you're driving on your hands.
That's fine. But
if Frank was ever president, the first thing he would do is sign an executive order allowing everyone to drink at work. Yeah, so,
not Crown, because Crown just put you on the floor.
No, you'd be asking for Hector.
I will be asking for Hector. So, now that we're on our drinking topics, right?
Hey, Ovi, you made it past the hour, buddy. We knew you'd stick around.
Yeah, you know what? I'm so involved in your conversations.
It's good.
I'm not fatiguing. I'm not even yawning, man. You guys are
it's good.
I told you. It's good. That's what happens. That's why you're here for your 100th episode, man. Congratulations again.
Frank, what are you going to bring up? Because I do got one more thing I want to touch on that I've experienced on X as a result of the fallout of the assassination. So after this whole Amber Rose thing, we moved past that now. And now we have this blowback of cancel culture. Only now it's the right that's doing it. So what happened? As I mentioned earlier, once after the assassination, you had a whole bunch of people posting on whatever about, he shouldn't have missed. If he was only, basically just a lot of grievance about the shooter missing Trump. What's happened? There's been some conservative accounts that have been taking pictures of all of these people and blasting them at work, getting people fired. There's been a lot of people that have been laid off this week or just in the last couple of days as a result of this. Today, naturally, the argument is, the right always complained about cancel culture and now they're doing it. And that's just been the fight, the debate of the day. So the question I have, I guess, is where do we stand on this? Because I recall when this phenomenon first occurred, and I did feel, and still do, that it was mainly the left that was doing whatever they could to cancel the right. I was told, including by Frank, hey, they're private companies. They can do what they have to do. and people were losing their jobs, and there were consequences. And so now that the right is doing it, of course, the people that are victims are like, but you guys didn't like it. So where do we stand here?
All right. I'm going to tell you, hold on. I'm going to tell you where I stand with that, because you just said something, they're private companies. Look, man, it's very simple. You have to watch what you say, how you say it. All right. Because if I sit here right now and I start talking about my job, right, and I start mentioning my company name, my company has every single right to come back and tell me, hey, who are you to be doing this? You're no longer employed because you know what? We don't see your views. Because at the end of the day, okay, I'm, I represent them in other aspects. Okay, just in general, and if people see me here and I'm mentioning them and stuff, you know what? They could get rid of me. Okay, whatever I post on my social media, okay, people from my job see it, they're gonna talk. All right, and if my boss doesn't like it, my boss can get rid of me. Especially here in the state of Florida. Remember, the state of Florida is a no-fault state. Okay, if you look at somebody wrong, if you fart in the fucking room, they could fucking fire you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and again, we're going back to private companies. So,
Okay,
again,
so I have to chime in here with Frank, right? And this is where it kind of gets a little muddy for me, right? When does your personal freedom start and your work obligations end? That's the question, right? So you're allowed to have, under the First Amendment, you're allowed to have opinions, right? So that's why
No,
you
no,
have
no,
the
no,
First
no, no,
Amendment.
no, no, no. You have the freedom of speech.
Yeah.
We gotta say that right. Your opinions, well, opinions could
I
be.
mean, you have a right to your opinion. You know, that's included in the freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. We'll keep it real.
That's
Speaking it real, baby. There goes
Okay.
It's okay. So it's free. You have your freedom of speech, so you have a right to your opinions, right?
right
So,
at a certain extent. And what Frank is saying is, you represent.
I'm actually probably on board with Guido here, man. When you say to a certain extent, even that makes me nervous.
Yeah, no.
Go ahead.
No. Because listen, it's just what I'm gonna repeat what Frank said. If you mention, let's say you work for United Airlines, even though we talked about that earlier, right? And let's say you're wearing a shirt that says United Airlines, and you go and you bash United Airlines for whatever it is, or you say, oh, Trump is a racist, or you say whatever it is that's a misrepresentation of that organization, yes, you could get canned. You can't get canned.
Did you sign off on that?
You do not.
You don't have
You don't have to.
I don't agree with that.
You do not
have
have,
to
because
if you're wearing
no. That's the thing.
You're not
you like
potaje tastes good.
hold on, and I'm going to counter that real quick. If you don't want other people to know your business and stuff like that, don't put them in your friends list.
What?
This is refreshing.
Invite people in your workplace or anything else like that.
This is a debate that this
business.
country really has to have, because I see both points here. Yes, but see, the thing is, though, in Ovi's case, I would naturally, and any company should, and if they haven't, I'll be honest with you, they should be sued, because that needs to be something that should end up being legal. Bottom line is this. Ovi, I understand. If I work for United and I wear a shirt that says this, United is trash, naturally the flex reaction would be to fire you for what you're wearing. However, that's something that should be in writing. Like, okay, if I'm going to hire you, Ovi, in this contract, hold on, Frank, it should state that you do not have the permission. You should not or will not talk negatively about this company in public in any way, shape, or form. If you sign off on that and you go ahead and wear what I just described, I should fire you. Guido, on the other hand, is arguing kind of what I'm arguing, which is speech is speech.
Yeah, let me say, hold on. You guys, let me get my thought out here, right?
Oh yeah.
We talk about a lot about like a lot of saucy stuff here, right? There's a lot of topics that that we sometimes people are uncomfortable with, right? So let's say Q-tips is an uncomfortable topic, right?
Who?
Q-tips, just a benign thing, right? Q-tips.
They're too white.
Whatever it is that you want to get to, right? Q-tips this, Q-tips that, whatever. Nobody likes how they tickle the ears. Like right?
They are little white oppressors. Go ahead.
And you're, and your company, right? Like you're talking about Q-tips, but you work for Q-tips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you understand what I'm telling you? Like you're giving audience to the idea that your time, even if it's personal, and your opinions, even if they're yours, are subject to termination by the company because you work and represent. So
Guido,
your obligation with the company doesn't end 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Guido,
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Guido, I'm telling you, right, that if you make a post that creates a hostile work environment and violates the company's social media policy, yes, they can fire you.
But that's what I
Listen.
just said. The policy.
Listen.
So if there's no
Yeah.
policy,
Look.
But here's the thing about policy is when you signed your contract, or I don't know where you guys work at and stuff like that, but do you read all the fine prints?
now we need
When
lawyers.
HR give you all these documents for you to sign, do you read everything
Yeah,
verbatim?
but that sounds more like a responsibility problem than Ovi.
That's your
I mean,
responsibility to know if
right.
you're going to get fired or not, whatever it is you do. So again, do you read everything?
Not many
I'm
people
not
do.
telling you don't answer. Don't answer.
Not many
I'm just
people do.
saying, no.
You wouldn't ask that question
like
if that
buying
wasn't
a
the
car.
answer.
It's like buying a car, right? When you got all this shit little papers you got to fill out, but you never read those little words. You just like, yeah, I'm happy to get my car. I'm going to get my car, but you didn't read the fine print.
But my question
Did
is,
you read your fine print at your workplace?
We're not talking about like legalities or technicalities because those things are already explicit. If you sign a paper that has that type of thing, like that becomes your reality, so you have to take responsibility for that. I'm not talking about it. I'm talking about the ethical question behind it, which is it right for companies to own you that way? Is it right for a company? Is it right for a company to go ahead and censor your thoughts and censor your speech based on the fact that you're employed by them, and that timer or that line between you and company time gets obliterated, and you're constantly on company time when it comes to your opinions and your speech?
So
Okay, hold on. Wait.
Go ahead, Frank. You've been trying to talk. Go ahead.
I got this.
He's got it.
So I'm going to put 2 points here. Number one, depending on who you're talking to. But if you're talking to a person that works with you about your company's a piece of shit and this and that and the other, right? Guess what? They might go back. And that's when they get information, right? And now watch this. We don't see you. We don't have your identity, right? Because of your job, right?
I feel you. So this is the thing, though. I think you're missing the forest for the trees. What I'm saying is it right for companies to own you? Is it right for companies to put that in your contract, right? Is it right?
Yes.
It's right for them to do that.
Guido, if you're working for me and you say something racist out there on social media that doesn't represent me, can I fire you because you said something racist?
It's your freedom of speech. You shouldn't be fired.
So it's okay. What you're saying is it's okay to be racist.
It's a legal question or ethical question. I think
it's okay to make false statements by purpose.
That's the problem with our society, is that we don't really understand what freedom is, right? And so freedom is not, so ethics and law are two different things, right? You're governed by ethics in society, and your consequences are societal, meaning that you get canceled, you get shunned. Those are the pressures of you conforming to ethics, right? Whereas the law is there's a penalization, there's a time, or there's a fine that you have to pay, right? And so legally, you're obligated. You have a right to your own opinions, and you have a right to speech, right? But what I'm saying is an ethical question: should you be punished by loss of employment, or by anything, or have that, even the fact that have that clause in your employment where it limits your speech and it controls your thinking?
Guido, I understand where you're coming from, and I really do. And the only number one answer I got for you right now is if your speech is creating a hostile work environment, then you gotta be let go. On the other thing, you talking about ethical. Everyone is entitled to their opinions, as you just stated. Yes,
Look,
right. However, go ahead, Frank.
I used to work for a company, and I'll never forget this because it was when it was just one of those when I think Facebook was around. Maybe Facebook came out 2009, right? More or less 2009, 2010, right?
Yes,
I think it was maybe like 2012, and this girl, she put something about people that she worked with, all right, and how much of a shit show it was. My boss was on her friends list. My boss was like, I'm gonna let her go. And you know what? She came back to work, and it was like, hey, you're no longer employed. Why? Well, because this is what you're saying. This is what you're talking about.
That's a slippery slope that we've been into, because anything can be construed as negative, right? So if I go ahead and I work for Frank, right? And I go ahead and say, hey, Frank, man, that black shirt doesn't really fit you. You should change it, right? On social media, right? He can go ahead and he can say, you know what, that made me feel uncomfortable. That's a hostile work environment. You know what? You're fired.
That's today's generation.
Yeah, today's generation. But
is that your generation, Guido?
No.
No, what I'm telling you is that right? Right? And you guys are saying, and this is the scary part. You guys are saying
defending.
Yes.
The guy's defending exactly what this generation abhors. He's definitely not.
Yeah. And you guys are saying yes to that.
No, I'm not saying yes or no. I'm only saying yes, you get fired if it's creating a hostile environment. That's all I'm saying.
So that's the issue. Is that
you're right? It is a gray area, Guido, and I agree with you 100%.
Ovi's approaching this from the surface. Ovi's approaching this from the surface, where my environment, my livelihood, my situation.
Because you represent your culture, then I will be offended. I will be offended if there's something that I believe in, true to my heart, that's my culture, my religion, and you use that against me to get fired. Now we have a lawsuit in hand. You see what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people that work for a lot of companies that don't really align with the values of the company.
Then why you hiring?
We're exposing
because I'm making you money. Why are you working? Because I'm making you money and you like it. Even though I don't like the way you run this ship, I'm okay here for now. I'm gonna let you know I don't like it here, but I'm gonna keep working here, and you're gonna like it because I'm profiting. So are you.
But that's the thing. Look again. You're working for the company. As you're working for the company, you can't fucking bash them. They're paying you a salary. Okay, at the end of the day, you can't fucking bash them. Bottom line,
it's scary. Like I hear you guys.
Guido, you're absolutely right. It is. Oh, it is scary. It really is. And
however, I will say this: this is where I agree with Guido. The fact that both of you are saying it's scary is the problem.
Well, I mean, the only thing that's not scary if you're the person in charge, because
that's the problem. It shouldn't be scary. This is where I understand where Guido's coming from. It shouldn't be scary. Common sense, I understand it, but it shouldn't be scary. That fine line, it's going to take forever for everyone to agree on. But the thing
is that you don't have much common sense if you're sitting there bashing the company you work for.
Yeah, but
I mean, unless you're a glutton for punishment, you're going to leave anyway. But I think what he's asking, and I understand the question, should your criticisms be a direct line of punishment just, because you said it?
Again, it obviously all depends on
then he proposes the common sense question, which is, how free is your speech?
In the private sector, not at all.
If you're promoting violence, no.
That is constitutional. That That's on the document. We cannot do that. We cannot do that. But anything else? Anything else? I mean, sure. We want to create an environment that benefits us or our business or everything, but sure, I mean, he's really going down the fundamental slope of how free is your speech? How free is your speech? Where do we draw the line on what we can or cannot say outside of what Ovi brought up? And
we're buying everything. It's all taxable too, by the way. I'm gonna add 6% to that.
Yeah, I just think that that is just crazy to hear that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always had this idea that what I say and what I think are things of mine, right? And if I share that with someone, like, that shouldn't have any effect on my employment. I think that's what in the 90s when I was working, in the 2000s I was working. It's just now that this generation, this period in time, is that we have become so hyperly aware of the social media and like those implications of what we say, right? That we've shut ourselves off, right? And kind of enclose ourselves into like just having this internal dialogue and like everything's NSFW, right? So that's kind of sad. Like, we've lost freedoms and we don't even know it, and the government didn't have to take or write any laws to it. Just companies.
It's the unwritten rule, man. Just like, well, I'm not gonna compare it from the back in the days, but it's an unwritten rule, and we're figuring out each and every day what's allowed, what's not allowed.
Yeah, but that shouldn't.
But you know what's good? If you want to see the positivity on this, is that we have 4 people in this podcast, and we're able to talk, to agree and disagree, and still be peaceful about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the premise of the show since episode 1.
I can sincerely say that I've been offended by Carlos's gestures, facial gestures.
And I can clearly say that I am proud to offend you.
And I can clearly say that I don't give a fuck.
Oh, here we go.
I'm here for it.
But hey, Carlos, isn't that kind of like sad? Doesn't it sadden you a little bit that you hear that from like people our age? There, it's like you have to, like, that free speech isn't free, and that whatever they say has consequences.
Yeah, and I feel unfortunately that's become a consequence because of the younger generation. This really wasn't an issue when we were growing up, but now
they're not educated.
And the worst part is that I tend to believe a lot in the idea that, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, the leopard spots thing. Those of us who are older,
I like it.
Those of us who are older have to now conform at this age to that shit. Like,
yeah.
What do we do, man? What do we do?
Too damn tired. Too old. Too tired.
Yeah. When do we stop?
Frank, I remember when Frank and I had one of our LGBTQ episodes, the first one, and I told
the young girl.
The young girl.
Excuse me. There's more letters to it now.
You know what? I'm stopping at Q, and I don't give a shit. That's what I mean by spots. I'm not going down that whole, not going down the addition symbols and the numbers and the square root symbols and all that crap. No. So, and you're lucky I even said Q. So,
well, when I was growing up, none of the letters existed.
It stopped at T.
I only knew 2 words when I was.
But I remember I told her, what did I tell her, Frank? I said, look, Frank and I have about 25, 30 years left on this rock. All right. We're willing to work with you on how you want to be addressed, but do not expect guys like Frank and I to literally conform and believe that you're one thing when you're telling us you're another. We're not going down that road. It's not going to happen.
Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos. LGBTQIA+.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's going to be more.
I'm not making it up.
I just say alphabet. It's just straight up. Call them alphabet.
But you know what? I think the second.
I tell my son that the alphabet community.
The second one that we had, the lady on Pride Month also,
who still didn't send us the damn cookies.
She never sent us the damn cookies. I know.
The what?
The
She was
cookies.
supposed to send us cookies because she runs a like a bakery, a cookie shop.
Oh
And she
yeah,
I'm
promised
not
us
signing her
cookies.
email.
at your area.
Promised us cookies.
No. She's out of California.
She's out in California.
But she's our age, and she even agreed with us on the whole alphabet and how it was.
Yeah, my son,
know,
there's a fraction.
important,
There's a
man.
fraction
Everybody's
within that
important.
group too. There's a fraction within the group. I mean, I talked to my son about it, and he always tells me the LGBs. There are some LGBs that have a serious problem with the TQ2 plus IAs. It's like,
Dude, I don't know anything about that. I mean, that's another civil war going on that one, probably.
there.
But at the end of the day, man, it's all about respect. And usually, when these letters come out, is because people are offended for what they stand for, and they come out with these names and they add it to the alphabet. So, it is what it is.
I think when we start exploring identity and sexuality and all that stuff, like it gets murky because like we're very like diverse and varied species, right? So we have all types of people, all types of like whatever. Like we're as diverse as a species as dogs. Dogs come in different sizes and whatever. And so in nature, you still have these types of um, LGBTQ things that happen in nature, right? I think there's a certain frog and a certain fish that flip with certain conditions. There has been coitus between two animals of the same sex. And there's been it's something that's a natural phenomenon in the animal kingdom, and we're part of that kingdom, and so why not understand that, right? So we can articulate it and we can put it into words and stuff. So like you said, as long as you have respect, that shouldn't be a problem, right? It shouldn't be a problem, because if you're one way, why would you want to force someone in your way? You feel me?
Right.
That
And
doesn't
I
that
totally
shouldn't
agree with you.
happen, right?
Everyone's entitled to feel the way they want to feel,
Exactly. And so,
however they
like,
want to identify themselves.
exactly. So
We wouldn't not be in this situation for us some, dumbasses out there that want to discriminate.
yeah,
Because
like
again, I mean, that's just one area of discrimination, right? I mean,
yes,
we could talk another 2.5 to 3 hours more about discrimination, but in this point right here, all this could have been avoided if we were able to respect one another. And
exactly.
unfortunately, this is the world that we live in.
Even in, like, if you're talking about even the classical heroes, if you're talking about the Greek heroes, where you're talking about Achilles and like whatever, right? They even had like relationships with the same sex. The Spartans, which are like the manliest men that have ever existed in classical antiquity, right? They've had agores, right? Which is like they would go ahead and they would sleep with the same sex boys and stuff, and then to make them tougher somehow. Like this is something that's been like part of like history, and it's something that I think well, I draw the line where it comes to boys. Let's be totally clear. But it's something that it's part of society. It's always been part of our DNA in a sense as a species.
What's up, Richie?
Right?
Go ahead. I saw it in the comments.
It's not new.
Right. So with everything that we just said, though, the one thing that I did not hear was variation between two sexes. That's it. Boys, girls, girls, boys, boys turning into girls, or as you said with the frog, from male to female or female to male, it's still two. And you can clearly define what it is based on its biological appearance.
Yeah, I tend to not agree with that, because I think that we have crossed this this idea of what gender is, right? So it's kind of so it's hard for me because I'm a cis male, right? So it's hard for me
You're
to
what?
a cis male. That's the same thing as like I identify as my sex. That's how they're supposed to say it, right? I'm a man. That's what I'm
I
saying.
thought we identified by pronouns. You said what
I'm
now?
a he. I'm a him. That's
Right.
what I'm,
Right.
That's
What
what
you
you call.
said, you're a what? A cis?
That's
Cis.
how it is. Like you look it up. It's just that's how they call it.
Yeah,
You
it's another
So
way of saying straight male.
straight
Some
man.
people are calling that a slur now.
I've never heard of that before. I swear to
Really?
God,
I
I
never heard of that. That's why I was like, what?
Yeah. Because
I
sometimes you
saw
have trans
cis. I'm
males, and
like,
so they're different from
cis.
cis males.
I thought it was a new nationality or something.
Dude, I
Nah.
just identify as a male. That's it.
Well, you can identify as a male too.
You could identify whatever name you want to come
Yeah,
up with, Frank.
exactly.
Yeah,
No.
you can say this. You can say this. I identify myself un pendejo. And you
I always
Now,
call him. I
see,
always
but
identify him
look
as a
how
child
far we've
molester.
come. Look how far we've come. He just said he's a cis male, and now there's conversation that the term cis is a slur.
Wow,
This is how fast it's happening.
it's crazy.
yeah, it's a
This
slur.
is how fast it's happening.
Black. It's black.
That's why I go back to what I said. I'm too old
Mhm.
for this shit. I'm sticking to this.
Richie thinks the same. It's from him too.
You know what else I learned in college, as of late, was Latinx.
Oh, Latinx.
Yeah.
Latin-
Yeah, that. Listen, I have.
you don't have
from,
to say Latino or Latina. You can just
from
say
day
Latinx.
one. I have squashed that bug. I'm like, don't even try to put that on my plate. I'm gonna flick it right at you. Just
You know what? No
It's
thanks.
okay.
not dealing with it.
agree.
I mean, there's a lot of changes around our world, and it's okay. You know, I mean, it doesn't affect us anyway. I mean,
Somos
call whatever you
viejo.
want to call
We're
yourself.
too old. This hurts the brain, man. We're old.
Yeah, I see that with all that white hair you got there.
Wow.
Verified.
That's nice.
Hey, I earned these, man. I'm proud. I don't give a damn.
Word up.
Yeah,
Don't
you're
worry, I
right,
got
all right.
some of my chin right here.
Oh,
It's about time you start getting them.
I think that
Oh, hell.
when it comes to that topic, like that next stuff, it's a slippery slope. Like you can fall off each end and you could come out the wrong direction. So you can be really thoughtful as far as like what your ideas are when it comes to like the idea of changing language to include a
Mhm.
neutral, right? Language is always
Right.
something that's evolving and changing anyways, right? So like is it something for us to kind of dictate? I don't think it is. Like we're set like Carlos said, we're set in our ways. So it's something I think for the generation.
Don't assume and just ask. It's okay to ask. You're not
Yeah.
offending nobody. You're not gonna, that that is not that sensitive. The messed up part is if you address someone to what they're not, then you got a problem. And
Right.
we'll just leave it like that. If you're not sure, ask. That's all. You're
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, look, I think either way at a given moment when you see a female, you might just miss or whatever, and that's when they come back and they correct you. Hey, don't. This is what I am. Oh, okay, sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, you see, that's the
That's
key
gonna be a
word.
comment,
That's the key word you just said. Sorry.
okay? Because right. That is the common thing. I mean, we're all gonna assume, right? Because I look at you. Hey, sir, come here. No. That's not
Don't
my
call me
pronoun.
sir.
Right.
I work for a living. That's right.
mhm.
I knew you were gonna say
Yeah.
that. So
Everything.
and that's when it's up to the individual that made the mistake to understand that, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I refer to you as whatever you want me to refer to you as.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
and
that's fair. As long as you're thoughtful, like we're the thing about us is that in our generation is that we didn't have that thoughtfulness when it comes to stuff like that, right?
Nope. No,
So
because
it is
we were raised to be in a certain way.
yeah, and so it is kind of hard to navigate. It's almost like a bull in a china shop, right? It's like we
Mhm.
have to be very delicate when we weren't that way growing up and in our upbringing, right? It was always like you have to be tough, you have to be rough, you have to defend and protect and ready to lay
Right.
your life down and throw down whenever you need to. Um,
But
but
Guido,
yeah,
you're going back to what you said before. Yeah, it was different back then because you had to hide because if you're not, you'll be discriminated, you'll be bullied, there will be a lot of things going on,
yeah.
and we're in this today, it's okay. You
Well,
can
it
Right.
is
you
okay because you know why? Because like we don't want to be a society where we're putting people in boxes or
Mhm.
in places where they have to hide for them true selves to be themselves, right?
Exactly.
Right. So that's the thing, and that goes for both ways. Like if you feel like you're a hyper like conservative, that you shouldn't be put in a box where you have to be like silent and not wanting to express your conservative ideals. Just like if you're on the left and you're like an extreme liberal, like you shouldn't be put in a box either, right? So we have to kind of, again, this is a message of unity where we have to kind of coalesce and say we have a common values of inclusion, and we should always
Just like
work
Queen
together.
Latifah would say, UNITY.
UNITY, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
So
love
that.
like,
I mean,
words
we
are not
could,
violence.
we could,
Violence
we
is
could,
violence. So
yes,
that's what we should preach.
you go, boy. Oh,
So
okay.
Rich, I was answering Richie. He says it's cigar time. I'm like, you go, boy.
Oh, gotcha.
But I
Yeah,
didn't
I
want
thought
to
we were gonna
interject in
cigar.
the middle of
Mm.
Guido's soliloquy. So I was like, all
Yeah,
right.
thank you.
So listen, I could sit here and say that for this being our 100th show,
Hunters. Yeah.
Hunter,
Wow.
Hunter,
yeah, our 100th show has been one
the
of
centennial episode.
yes, has been one of our better shows.
Damn right.
I just want to kind of get a quick idea. What's been either your favorite show, your favorite moment from our shows? You know, just go out there.
Oh.
Well, what was
I
her name
remember-
again?
Oh.
Which one?
The that girl, the woman we used to have come on from time to time.
Kimberly.
Yeah,
Kimberly.
that exit she gave us.
Oh, man.
That's top 3. That's definitely.
Yeah, we were having a conversation. We were all talking, and she just got all like sexual comments.
Whoa.
Yeah. She's like, I forgot Pam. You see, I'm going to find that and I'm going to play it next time. 'Cause I know I have
Yeah. She said something, and I honestly, I told Frank, we're done.
Frank didn't want to be done, huh?
We're
No,
done.
no, yes, I did. I was like,
Frank
yeah,
hit-
click bye.
Frank hit the button.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what y'all should have done was consolidate all the memorable
Well,
stuff.
we weren't going to
stuff.
do anything until next week, but
Oh.
it's been a hell of a weekend. And
Yeah, no, I will. I will
It's
do
not
that. I just, that takes work because I got to look through the shows and stuff like that.
I got you, man. I got you.
I know you do.
I got all the resources for you, man. I'm your video guy, baby. I got
No, I know. All right.
Yeah.
I mean,
that
You know what else we
and
can
Frank the
celebrate,
altar boy.
Frank? You know what else we're gonna celebrate
what?
is that this Thursday we're gonna be celebrating, which is
When you're
tomorrow,
on.
5 years podcasting on the HHW show.
All right, so there's another one.
Yeah,
Damn.
Frank,
It's
you've
a lot
been
of
on all 5
celebration.
years?
5 years.
Yeah.
Well, at the beginning,
Really?
like
Pretty
I
much.
said, he was on the phone. But yeah,
We're trying to get
absolutely.
Frank's audio upgraded every.
But
Yeah.
you got to start by putting down his microphone. It's like,
Man, I've been telling him it's sitting here waiting for him.
no,
And
I
it's
know.
on his headphone.
Oh no, I shouldn't be playing through here. You hear this?
Yeah.
no,
No,
it shouldn't be. I think it
I'm not
mutes
sure
when
yet.
it's up.
Your sound quality is not the same as all of us.
No, I know it's not.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with the room too, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you have your mic away, that mic that I gave you picks up really good, but you're in an echoed room that it's not treated, so yeah, you sound hollow too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know that.
But
Yeah.
All right.
it's here waiting for you, bro.
I think
I mean, my mic is right here.
nice.
Use it.
I am using it.
He's got to put it up like by his grill. He has it too far away.
Like,
I'm sure that if I talk here, you guys hear me a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Why are you not
Exactly.
using that
See
microphone?
That's-
I don't have no idea.
That's some sound quality right there.
I'm far away from it because I don't have the arm. Listen, man.
I got the arm. I told you to buy.
I've gone through a whole transformation
Oh,
in
yeah.
offices and stuff. Shut up, Ozzy.
So
I don't see your bed anymore.
No, you don't. I changed offices altogether.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what happened to that dude? Did he come back for his stuff? Or
Oh, you kicked somebody out?
He threw his ass out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I threw his ass out.
He left the beer outside the sink or something, man.
Kept messing with his window. Stop touching my window.
Hold on.
Yeah. We're holding on. Hold on.
Oh man. So I have to say, between that and Frank believing for a second that he was an altar boy growing up, bro, his sister his sister did him dirty.
I was an altar boy.
I'm not gonna lie, she had me for a loop too. I mean, I've known Frank since elementary school. I'm like, yo, this is one thing about Frank I didn't even know. So holy hell.
You didn't know he was an altar boy?
No, but he never really was. His sister just rode him for.
Oh, okay.
Was like this close to believing it. And the thing is, there's a picture that they have of their first communion, and we always we got to have that little garment. So Frank was like, I was never an altar boy. He was like ready to explode, and I was in tears.
Dude.
I was dying. There you go.
Yeah.
I was dying in tears watching Frank struggle mentally.
She got me good. She got me really good. She, I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember being an altar boy. No, this can't be.
It's like gaslighting 101 right there, bro.
Dude, I sent her a text message on the side, and I was like, what are you talking about? You know?
You almost
Dude,
had
I was
you
crying. I'm crying now. It was that funny. It was that funny. I was in
that's
tears.
one of those good moments there. I want to say, let's see, my favorite show or moment. There's been a lot. I got a lot of moments. I got good moments. I got sober moments.
At least the ones you
I
remember.
got drunk moments.
Frank, every time you're drunk is a moment.
Yes, it is. And I can say that I've had a couple drunk moments on the show. No, I think I had one on ours. Or two. I know on HHW show I've had a couple.
Plenty.
One that we're not going to talk about anymore because
It's
I was
okay.
so embarrassed on that one.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? You got me ratings. So
I'm
Guido,
sure I did.
we were watching a pay-per-view event, and I had to do an after show. It was live, okay. And
Yo,
usually
SummerSlam.
after the live show, people chime in to see what others react, okay. And we were reacting to the winners and losers, and Frank downed a whole bottle of Crown, okay, and he was slurring his words. And we had another co-host named Hector. And like every 5 minutes or less, he'd be like, "Where's Hector? Where's Hector? Where?" I'm like, "Are you serious right now?" And even people were chiming in comments. Somebody go find Hector. I'm like, "Come on, man!" Like Hector took over the show, and he wasn't even there.
Nope.
That's crazy.
And it was for a good 23 minutes. Let's put it that way. And before I had to sign out, be like, "Hey, tune in next week to the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show." And bloop.
You want to know what the crazy thing is? I don't remember that.
Oh no,
Of course.
but I
You're
do.
not gonna
Of
remember.
course.
Yeah.
And you know what? When I find that video, I won't do that to you, man.
I could find it. I know exactly
Oh,
where
it's on Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that. It's on Facebook. It's on
It's
YouTube.
on YouTube. It's
I
on
know
Twitter.
That's how I find it all the time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
It's
I
a good
forgot who I showed it
reflection,
to.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
That's a good reflection on your part. Yeah.
It is. I forgot who I showed it to. And I said, "Don't ever get like this. That's not good."
No.
You know?
Only
think
on the
the
hard
one-
hitting. When he said hard hitting, I thought that's probably why he was hitting that bottle hard. So,
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
Crown.
Think
Out
for
of all
me-
days, bro.
We've
Frank,
had
Carlos,
many
thank you,
shows.
man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me on your show, man.
Always a pleasure, Ovi. Good to see you, brother.
Thank you.
Guido,
Obi.
it's nice talking to you.
Yeah, he's talking to you too, Obi.
Definitely gotta do it again, man.
For sure.
Yes, I don't know if you like football.
Yeah, I like football.
You follow college football?
Not so much.
Oh, we'll do the NFL. It's fine.
Well, you just said he didn't know much about sports.
I mean,
I mean,
Yeah,
when
you-
he
you
was
threw him
trying
under-
to
you threw him under the
compare
bus
a
there, bro.
wildcat and a pig. I'm
well,
like,
I mean, I was trying to make an analogy, man. Come on, like, give me a
first time I
break.
saw Frank Jones.
Like,
was
it kind of is
like,
similar to like.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Dude, you know what? Quick story.
Richie, has Richie been watching? Richie, you have to see. There's been a journey that Frank has been going through these last few weeks on the development of said filter, and It's great to watch. I'm not going to knock him at all, but it's funny also.
Listen, that moment in the cigar lounge, I could tell you that one. That one was funny as shit. Because I actually remember it, right? I what do you call it? Ovi, see you later, sir.
All right.
All right,
Take
bro.
care, man.
Take
We'll
it
catch
easy,
up
man.
later. All right.
Happy 100.
All right, man.
Thanks,
you.
bro.
You see, here I am trying to end the show, and people start commenting, and we just keep talking. So anyway, so fuck it. We'll just keep talking, and we'll try to end it eventually. So what happens? This moment comes around, right? I'm a Richie. Richie's somebody that I've known all my life. You know, we lost touch for a couple of years. We reconnected, whatnot, the other. We've been hanging out. So I'm at the cigar lounge. He calls me up. He's like, "Hey, come out." I'm like, "Sure, fine. I'll go out." But it's a Friday night. And I'm like, I want to drink. And I don't want to drive home. So being the responsible person that I am, I went ahead and I Ubered over there. And I start smoking my cigar, having a whiskey. Smoking my cigar still, having another whiskey. Normally I do maybe 2 cigars and I do maybe a whiskey per cigar. Well, in this one, I did 1 cigar, had 3 whiskeys, had another cigar, had another 3, and I had a couple more drinks. Needless to say, at the end of the night, there's this old man, George. Funny fucking guy. All right. He starts talking. And George is an older guy. Right? So he talks to me, I start talking to him, and he told me what on one of the things that I told him. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I go, "Okay, I'm sorry, you're old. I have to talk slower to you." Okay. This guy had a hat. He had a hat of like a Charlie Chaplin hat on his head. I took it from his head and I put it on mine.
Oh man.
Now, I knew I did that. That part I didn't remember, but I knew that because they sent me pictures of that one. All right. So, as a matter of fact, I have a picture of George that I'm going to share with you guys in a minute, so you guys can laugh. So when you see George, you'll be like, "Oh, that's George."
Don't dox the guy. Why?
Nah, bro, cool guy. I'm sure that you know what.
I'm sure no lawsuits will come from this.
Yeah, we don't want to like.
For the record, Frank owns the rights to this entire show. Should there be any money, any monetary damages involved, this is his show.
God, you're horrible. So let's see if you can see that. There's
Which
me
one?
with the hat, and there's George.
This dude right here. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you both look equally old.
No, George is pretty old there.
Zero
That guy.
chill from Guido.
You see, oh my God, George. Yes, late 70s and an attitude of I don't give me fuck.
Yeah.
Give a fuck.
All right,
Oh
but let
my
me tell you,
God.
I did that, and that was one of the funniest things of me not having a filter and having a couple drinks. But funny enough, I think one of our favorite shows that I enjoyed was when we did the Cuba show. And not because it was a Cuba show, but that was one of the first shows that we did. You know, we've always had people commenting it on with us, but it was the first show that we did that we actually had somebody that nobody knew that just found us and just started commenting, and we actually brought this individual on live.
Is that the foot guy?
No.
No. That guy we brought on live.
Oh no. This was during that whole revolution thing that was brewing once again in Cuba.
Correct.
That didn't come to fruition again.
Yeah. Yeah. So stuff like that. I mean, what else? The show that we did with David. I mean, not David, with Dan Mahler, the guy in Pennsylvania. That one where I went downhill.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Listen, backstory on that one. I was supposed to go to Connecticut that weekend, and we're gonna do a show over at the CMG studio. That's where I was gonna do it at. Carlos, I think, was gonna be home. So, lo and behold, I get to the airport. My flight leaves, I think, at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I get to the airport at noon. I have a ritual. I get to the airport. I'm going to have a drink. Get one drink. Get two drinks. My flight's delayed. Have a third drink. Have a fourth drink. Next thing I know, flight got canceled. I got to come home.
His heart.
Yes. Came home. Started doing the show, and I just kept drinking. And drinking. And drinking. I would not end the show. That was hilarious when you start looking at it. And I think we're gonna have those clips coming up. Watch. I'm gonna find those. I mean, I have them. I have one. Just gotta find it. Oh, fact. I might be even able to find it right now. That might take too long.
Yeah. Well, guys, I have to go.
No, yeah, we gotta go too, man. I mean, look, thank you, Guido, for coming on.
Anytime.
It's
the
been
best name I ever came up with for somebody, man.
No,
It's
for
awesome.
sure. Yeah.
Yes,
It's gonna be my new moniker forever.
for sure. Thank you. Have a good night, people. Remember,
Bro, if you find a makeup artist so we can at least see something,
I think this works if you really think about it.
or at least like upload like an avatar. Like,
I'll make something. We'll see. We'll see.
yeah.
bueno, bro, happy 100.
All right. Yes. Happy 100. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you.
Enemies, frenemies, share the show. Deuces.
Hey.
Speaking the Real Podcast. Vamos a mandarle ahí a Speaking of Real Podcast. Oye, ¿te enteraste del nuevo podcast? ¿Cuál es? De Speaking Real. Speaking is Real, normal. Oye, mi inglés está malo, pero Speaking is Real es lo mejor, mi hermano. Vengo descargando de antemano para que sepa. Si tú quieres un podcast bueno, mire Speaking, que se respeta. Para que lo sepas, están duros y le meten Speaking Real, pana. No hay billete, pero sí hay talento para demostrar. Y cuando estemos arriba, todito vamos a ayudar.